The Basement Ritual. The clock strikes 2:30 a.m. A haunting silhouette of a centuries-old building looms against the pale light of the moon. Its exterior, weathered and broken, looks like it carries the scars of too many untold stories. Stories that are best left buried. The air around the building feels thick, as though the structure itself exhales despair. Why would anyone approach such a place, especially in the dead of night? Perhaps not all curiosity leads to discovery. Some paths may only lead to horror. The rumors surrounding this building are endless. People whisper of disappearances, of muffled screams faintly heard through the night. They tell tales of ghostly figures seen from its windows, and a sinister history that no one dares to explore. The locals avoid walking close even during the day, yet tonight someone has decided to break that unspoken rule. A young investigator appears, determined to uncover the truth beneath the whispers. They walk briskly yet cautiously through a deserted street. The sound of their footsteps feels unnaturally loud in the eerie stillness. The chilled air bites their skin, but something darker pricks at their senses, a subtle, unshakable tension, as if unseen eyes are already watching. Approaching the ancient building, they hesitate for a brief moment, staring at the creaking door. Their flashlight flickers as if warning them against this venture, but curiosity, or perhaps something deeper, drives them forward. With a sharp pull, the door groans open, releasing a burst of cold, musty air that carries the smell of decay. The investigator steps inside, bracing against the darkness that engulfs them. Dust swirls in the beam of the flashlight, revealing remnants of a forgotten past. Broken furniture leans against the walls, cobwebs draped like curtains over every surface. The overwhelming loneliness of the space feels alive, hissing at the trespasser. But something feels off. The investigator notices the faint whistle of wind coming from below. It's strange. No opening should allow a breeze this deep inside. It's coming from the floor. It doesn't take long for the investigator to find it. Beneath a pile of broken wood and shattered glass lies a concealed door. Their flashlight lingers on it ominously. The wood is old and splintered, but the way it's been hidden suggests no one was meant to find it. Hands trembling slightly, they clear the debris, exposing a heavy iron handle. With a sharp tug, the door creaks open to reveal a narrow spiral staircase descending into pitch blackness. The draft from below is stronger now, colder, but something else rides along it, an unbearable metallic scent. Sweat beads along their brow as they peer into the void. This is no ordinary basement. With hesitant steps, they begin their descent. The stone staircase feels slick beneath their feet, damp with moisture that seems to have seeped into the very bones of the structure. Their breathing becomes audible, echoing off the enclosing walls. The further they go, the stronger the scent grows. It's a crude, vile smell. Iron and rot. The kind of smell that doesn't just linger, but actively oppresses, wrapping itself around them like an invisible cage. Reaching the bottom, the investigator shines their flashlight across the cold stone floor. The space is larger than expected, cavernous even, with low-hanging beams dripping with water. The flashlight reveals deep scratch marks on the walls, as if wild animals, or something worse, had struggled here. Yet, it's what lies on the floor that truly steals their breath. The beam of light falls on what appears to be a pile of objects at first, but as the investigator takes a step closer, their stomach churns. These are no mere objects. Scattered messily across the floor are bones, human bones. Some still cling to scraps of rotting flesh, while others are cracked and splintered, as if violently broken. They stagger back, hand clasping their mouth to stifle a gasp. The flashlight trembles in their grip as the horrifying scene comes into sharper focus. The broken remains are arranged unnervingly, almost systematically, as though they were part of some twisted collection. Then it hits them. This isn't just death, this is deliberate. The silence of the basement is broken by a sickening noise, a low, sharp crack that echoes through the room. The investigator freezes in place, their body paralyzed by sheer dread. It happens again. Crack. The sound of bones snapping. Slowly, they turn their flashlight toward the origin of the sound. At first, nothing is visible in the beam. The dim glow struggles against the suffocating darkness, but then they see it, movement in the shadows. At the edge of their vision stands a figure cloaked in a tattered, hooded robe. The figure's hands work methodically with a sharp knife, snapping bone and slicing through flesh with precision. The investigators' knees weaken as they watch the horrific act unfold. Blood drips steadily onto the stone floor, pooling beneath piles of dismembered remains. As the investigator watches in frozen terror, the figure shifts slightly, revealing more details. Its movements are impossibly slow, yet deliberate, like an artist creating a masterpiece. The broken bones are placed carefully into a pattern on the floor. Lines, triangles, and symbols that glow faintly with an unnatural hue when touched by blood. This isn't random. This isn't an act of simple madness. It's a ritual. The hooded figure suddenly speaks, their voice guttural and cracked, like wind scraping against glass. The words are unintelligible, ancient maybe, but the intent behind them is clear. This is no human act. The investigator's heart races so fast it feels like it might explode. Every fiber of their being screams at them to run. Their mind churns with panic. Their legs tremble. But the fear of being heard roots them in place, forcing them to merely watch as the horrific ritual continues. The blood-stained knife dips into a mangled corpse, slicing with a horrifyingly casual ease. The cracking sound of splitting bone and the wet squish of severed flesh ricochet through the basement. The investigator begins to slowly, cautiously step backward, hoping to escape unnoticed. But the fragile bones scattered on the ground betray them. Snap. Their foot presses against a brittle fragment, the sound breaking through the ritual's rhythm like a gunshot. The hooded figure stiffens mid-movement. The room falls silent as a void. Even the faint dripping of water seems to pause. The figure slowly tilts its hooded head toward the noise. The investigator claps a hand over their mouth, desperate to remain still. The figure lingers for several agonizing seconds. Then, as though satisfied, it returns to its work. But the investigator knows this is their only chance. Summoning every ounce of courage, they inch their way toward the staircase. Their heart pounds like war drums, blood rushing in their ears. Every step feels like it could be their last, every noise like a death sentence. When they reach the base of the staircase, the investigator dares a glance back. The hooded figure is still engrossed in the ritual, the blade gliding through remains with unsettling grace. They take the first step upward. The spiral staircase groans loudly under their weight, too loudly. The figure freezes again. This time it doesn't return to its task. Instead, it rises slowly, painfully, its movements unnaturally stiff. Then, it turns. For the first time, the flashlight catches a glimpse of its face, or what remains of it. Decayed flesh clings to its skull, eyes hollowed into black pits that seem to watch every movement. The investigator bolts up the staircase as fast as their legs will carry them. Behind them, the heavy, dragging sounds of pursuit echo ominously. The hooded figure isn't fast, but it doesn't need to be. The sense of inevitable doom feels thicker than the air. The investigator gasps as they reach the top, lunging for the door. The door slams shut on its own, as though compelled by an unseen force. The investigator tugs desperately, but it won't budge. Behind them, the dragging sounds grow louder, closer, and the faint whispers of foreign, unholy voices begin filling the air. Something seizes their ankle. With a scream, they are yanked back down, falling hard against the stone staircase. The flashlight flies from their grip, its beam spiraling wildly across the room. Dragged into the basement's depths, the investigator finally comes face to face with the hooded figure. The glowing symbols now pulse wildly, their light bathing the room in an eerie crimson hue. Blood pools everywhere, the metallic scent overpowering. The last image visible in the flickering flashlight beam is the blade ascending into the air, its edge glistening sinisterly. Somewhere above them, the clock strikes 3 a.m. The screen goes black. All that remains are faint, unintelligible whispers and the distant sound of snapping bones. Darkness consumes everything, leaving viewers with one lingering question. Who, or what, was the investigator disturbing? And were they truly alone in their quest for the truth? The horror doesn't end with the video. It seeps into the viewer's mind, leaving them haunted long after the screen goes dark.